Peace and blessings, family. Welcome to another episode.
Yes, I am Mystique and I'm here with
Christine.
the Empress. Yeah, so today we're talking about sensuality. We want to get into some discussions about sensuality. So we're going to start by asking the simple question, what is sensuality? And based on the dictionary, here's the definition.
Yeah, so according to Oxford Dictionary, sensuality is the enjoyment, expression, and pursuit of physical, especially sexual pleasure. A similar meaning they have here is the condition of being pleasing or fulfilling to the senses.
Yeah, and something with that is it connects to sex automatically. I feel like in society, we believe that sensuality is just about sex, right? So as a woman, as a goddess, right, what's your definition of sensuality?
Sensuality to me is to be completely in touch with you, with your senses, with life. Sensuality is to be able to smell, to hear, to feel, to use the gifts that we've been given to experience this reality and be in touch with the beauty of that.
Yeah. So, for me as a man, I would say sensuality is, as you said, just being connected with the pleasures of life, right? When we hear the word sensuality, SENSE, the sense, we're talking about the five senses: hearing, smelling, feeling, tasting, and all that good stuff, right? So, what are ways how you express your sensuality based on these senses?
Well, I have a very great connection with food, and it's a practice for me, but really being mindful when I'm eating, especially fruits, taking your time and just tasting the textures and feeling the juiciness and all of the different experiences that is caused through experiencing taste, right? Also, we're out in nature right now. There are so many different sounds. The ducks are communicating with us, the wind, the trees. Nature always puts me in awe, especially when you're around like beautiful flowers or beautiful sunsets. These are ways that I experience sensuality. And one of my favorite ways that I experience sensuality is through movement, through dance, like really feeling myself, my essence, and just being able to dance with that and play with the energy.
The energy. And like as a man, sometimes I believe, a man like I, back in the days, will look at it and be like, damn, we started to think about, we start having sexual desires, right? And it's like, as a man, we can sometimes operate from the frequency of the lower nature, right? Which distorts, the purity and the sacredness of such beautiful sacred energy, right? So as a woman, have you ever felt that kind of judgment or that kind of just like that feeling from a man or even a woman looking at you or judging you based on, you being in your own expression?
Yeah, I think to add to what you're saying, yes, I've definitely experienced different spectrums of experience with that. And I think it's important to acknowledge that our body is a temple.
Exactly.
Our body is sacred. And because this energy and what we've been programmed to see in society around our sensual, sexual nature has been deeply distorted. It's been deeply sexualized, deeply operating from a lower nature. I think so many women, I know men as well, are deeply disconnected from their feeling nature, from traumas, from things that they see, things that they hear, religious programming. And so, yes, I've definitely experienced being targeted for that energy. I've also experienced a very different awareness around this energy as I've healed my relationship or reclaimed my relationship to sensuality. There was a time where I was misusing that energy and attracting very lower vibrations, men that were very much in their lower nature. And I think as I've come to cultivate my energy and recognize my energy as sacred, my surroundings started to change, and what I attract is a very different kind of energy. And I'm not saying that energy doesn't still exist, but it's not very often that it shows up in my reality now, as this awareness of self and my relationship to myself has changed.
Yeah. One thing I want to share too is just the the nature of the masculine and feminine energy, which is the masculine is operating more in the mental and the feminine is operating more in the body. And what I've realized too in societies that, women have been operating a lot in the mental, right, for such a long time, which is the masculine energy, that they have been disconnected from the body, from that sensuality. What awareness could you bring to a woman that's disconnected from her sensuality or just from her body?
Well, I think that the awareness for a woman that is navigating that, and I've definitely been a woman that navigated that, is that there is a journey in coming back home to yourself and reclaiming these parts of yourself and starting to build a relationship with these things. And there's so many ways you can do that, from like taking baths, simple self-care regimens that allow you to come back home to your feeling body. Yeah, and I also want to talk about this concept of judgment. I believe that our judgments are a great entryway into going deeper within yourself, because judgments usually come from a part of ourselves that is judging ourselves or that is lacking in awareness. So if we are judging others, or if we are seeing something that someone else is triggering within us, this is an opportunity for you to become curious about where that energy, where that judgment is actually coming from, and what it's telling you about you.
I feel like sometimes people go based on information they received and they're not really feeling sensuality. So it's more of like a mental thing where they're going based on an idea of how to be sensual versus really feeling sensual. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that I see that's a common trend that's happening within society unconsciously.
Yeah, well, on that note, I feel that first and foremost, there's been a lot of shame and guilt around this energy, and there's a lot of misunderstanding about this energy. And in some ways, I'm still navigating that and finding the balance of what is a healthy expression and how much of that desire is from a healthy place, because we are sexual beings, right? And it's in our nature. Sexual energy, sensual energy is creative energy. It's a healing energy. So as you were saying, people are stirring that energy. They become aware. And I think there's stages of evolution of awareness, right? Because women may be sending this energy out and realizing that they're pulling things in and acknowledging that as a form of manifestation and creation, which I've come to find this energy is very powerful. When you're in touch with your senses, you become more magnetic, right? Sure. So I think that at some level of awareness, maybe in one stage of that development, you see that it can create things. It's like, now how do you merge that with that sacred honoring of yourself and all beings as sacred, and pull in from a different space of knowing? Yeah, so I wanted to ask you, as a man, how do you view sensuality?
Well, let's start from the lower nature. It's a point where I would look at a woman that's in her sensual nature, and automatically, I got tapped into the frequency of the lower nature, where I was more in a lustful, I was looking at that in more of a lustful way. I wasn't honoring the energy. I didn't understand the true expression of what sensuality meant. So for me, I was just thinking, all right, this woman is looking at me a certain way. She's being sensual. She's expressing herself. And to me, I felt like, she was giving me the vibe, like, hey, you know what I'm saying? She's giving me the vibes, like,
like that.
And, that's how we, as a man, we can sometimes misinterpret energy, not knowing that we all carry a very sensual nature, because again, it's a feminine expression. It's more of a feminine quality, right? And as a man, I feel like, we sometimes express that even unconsciously. Like, I remember when I used to be in the gym and I used to have abs, and I'll pick up my shirt and just like rub my abs and feel my body, that's a act of sensuality. So there's ways how, as a man, we even experience that, even taking baths. If you're a man and you're lighting candles and setting the mood, right? And you're in the bathtub, laying in bubbles and doing your thing, come on. I know some of you men doing that, behind the scenes.
You might want to take a look at
it. Yeah, and that's a feminine, expression quality, or you tap into the feminine nature, and there's nothing wrong with that. But some men want to be an alpha male and in this big masculinity, which is just about the mental and not the body. And now I feel like, I've come to a point where I could express it. Sometimes I sit down and I observe. I'm able to now, because again, as you said earlier, it's more connecting to the senses. And as a man, I feel like even the way I eat now is more mindful. I put my hand down and I could taste the food. I feel the frequency. I'm eating my watermelon. I could feel the exactly the electric, like I feel the electric, just by eating some watermelon, or fruits in itself. And just being mindful and being present. So for me, I feel like as a man, just looking at the past of how I, once operated in a lower frequency to now raising the frequency and being more in the body as a whole, in my heart, and, aligning all the chakras, and igniting that energy in a way that's more sacred.
And in some ways, even reclaiming your relationship to your feminine nature. Exactly. Because I think so many men, when they hear this concept about feminine energy, they have a completely distorted understanding of that. And yin and yang, there's a balance. We both have feminine and masculine energy within us. And yes, we may be operating mainly in one of them or over the other, but it's very important to know that they're both very real parts of us, and it's important to be connected to them, our feeling nature.
So
so we want to encourage you in sharing this message to get connected to your sensual energy, because it is the way in which we get to experience this life, and it could be a way that you can even experience life at such deeper level. And so with that being said, we want to encourage you to tap into your sensual energy, whatever that means to you. Connect with your senses, right? Whether that's looking at something beautiful, coming out into nature and connecting with the sun, with the trees, with the flowers, with the plants, with the animals, listening to music that feels good to you, that raises your vibration, tasting foods that bring you pleasure, that make you feel good. And even just connecting with your own self, like taking time to feel how good it feels to be in your own embrace.
Exactly. And just be mindful. It's really, mindfulness practice is one of the greatest practices to apply when it comes to sensuality, because it's the moment to moment, it's the presence, it's being present in that sensual, in your senses and the experience. So with that said, I feel like we're complete with this message, and I hope you will connect back with your body, honor your temple, and be authentic in your expression as a sensual being.
And on that note,
just elevate. If you receive any value from this video, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on post notification to stay updated. Thank you.